let's keep it rolling here with our next. There he is. Next fireside chat. Justin Roberti is talking to Daniel Barel, the CEO of REE Automotive, ticker REE. Let's get Daniel on here, guys.
Fantastic.
There he is. Justin, the floor is yours, sir.
Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Good, Justin. How are you, mate?
Good. So RE it stands for reinvent, reimagine, and what is the third one? There are three, and restructure. That's correct?
That is correct.
You have an interesting approach to things. First of all, is the idea that you've essentially change your designs in such a way or innovate within your design that you can have kind of like a one corner technology so that you can manufacture things from like a flatter starting point. Why don't you tell us about how you're designing your vehicles to be able to fold down that way and save space in the vehicle overall?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've developed is a concept called the corner. We understood that, when you build a platform, which is the basis of a vehicle today, right? It's very complicated. It's very costly. It costs about $1 to $3 billion. It takes about 8 to 10 years to develop. And then after you've done this, you understand that the market wants it a little bit different. Then what do you do then? You either go back and spend another billion or so in another 8 years, or you try to convince the market that whatever you've got, that's the way it is, and they have to cope. And up until 10 years ago, that has been the case. OEMs used to build vehicles the way they decided to, and all of us had to conform. But we see a major shift now towards what the industry call a more of a modular approach, a custom design requirement, a mission-specific vehicle, if you'd like. So how do you cope with something like that? Are you able to build so many different permutations? We understood that the basic limitation of that is that you put everything on the chassis, right? You've got to think about it. When you pop up the hood of the car, right? There's so much stuff cramped into that, and this is what makes the car go, right? The drivetrain, the suspension, the steering, the brake, and the motors. And if you look at an ICE electric compared to electric, right? The conventional versus electric, just the motor is different. They've taken the ICE engine and replaced it with electric motor, but everything remains the same. So every time you try to shift it, there's a major change. There's a ripple effect. You change the wheelbase by 10 inches. You have to change the drivetrain and the half shafts and the center of gravity and so on and so forth. It's a nightmare. So we said, okay, let's take them out. Let's take all those components off the chassis. Right. Okay. So where do you put them? First thing is you put them in the wheel. Not a good idea. You put them in the wheel, you mess around with handling, with safety, you mess around with durability, not good. So we put it back, said, not good. Let's find somewhere else to put it. There is literally nowhere else. It's just, chassis and a wheel. And then we came up about 10 years ago with a funny idea. Let's put it in between the chassis and the wheel. Okay. And the guy said, okay, where? It's over there, right between the chassis and the wheel, and like you see behind me. Right? And they said, how do you call that? I said, I don't know. It's in the corner. And ever since we call them corners. And those things have everything you need in order to make the car go. It has the suspension, the drivetrain, the steering, the brake. And why is it so important? It allows us to be completely agnostic to three major trends. It allows us to be completely agnostic to dimensional change. We can now take out the corners and change the platform as we want. Both in terms of length, width, height, weight, anything you want from under 1 ton, sub-class 1 categories, all the way to class 7 and up. Right. It allows us to be completely agnostic to battery technology. So we can adapt to whatever the battery technology takes us to. And because we control them by wire, there are no mechanical connection between those corners. Right. We're agnostic to the driver, right? It can be a person driving or an AI. And that allows us to put vehicles on the road in 2 years as opposed to 8 to 10 and at a fraction of the cost.
Interesting. Yeah. So you're achieving savings essentially by putting it in an area in the design that you can, change the dimensions of the vehicle, not necessarily have to affect that area. You can change the style of the body. You can change the size of the wheel and so forth, and have it all tie back into that one place. You take a similarly innovative approach toward the sourcing in your actual supply chain. So you've got this fully flat modular construction thing, but you've also got a particular approach to working with your vendors with the horizontal manufacturing approach. The motto, from what I understand, being complete, not compete. So when you're talking about other OEMs and manufacturers, how is that working for you, especially when you're coming with something that's potentially so disruptive? How do you work harmoniously with the entrenched players, especially when you're talking about combustible engine manufacturers?
Yeah, see, Justin, in order to become a market standard in the industry, in order to have a really main effect, honestly, you can't do it alone. I mean, you have to raise, I don't know, a few tens of billions of dollars and spend, I don't know, 10, 15 years and hoping you're going to be in the right trajectory.
Right.
Or you collaborate with people. And we took a model that is very known to everybody, which usually people call it the Intel Inside model. Right? Intel works with Dell, Lenovo, and HP and all these guys, and each one of them can build whatever computer they want, whatever, let's say, laptop you want to buy. You want to build one with a large screen or a business stream or whatever you want, but it has that Intel Inside sticker. Sure. So regardless to whoever wins in the market, Intel wins, right? Same with us. We're providing that platform. We're providing a very modular approach based on the REE corner design, powered by REE. And we're not competing with other OEMs or the newcomers to the market and the new mobility players. We're actually supporting them. We're completing their offering because we're not building full vehicles. So they can take our platform, similarly to how Dell takes the Intel chips, and build whatever product they want on top, whatever service they want on top, which is custom designed to what they need. And they can play with that dimensions and requirements as they see fit. And by doing that, we're powering and enabling them to move faster to the market at a fraction of the cost. Right. So if you're an OEM, like our partnership with Toyota through Hino, Toyota's truck arm, Hino presented back in 2019 a single platform for their future of mobility called the Flatformer, which is powered by REE. And guess what? It's completely flat and fully modular. And earlier this year, a couple of months ago, we announced an upgrade to that relationship where we signed a strategic alliance, a business alliance agreement between us to take this to production. And that's major. We also are doing business now with, which is public now, Magna, that we're signing a collaboration agreement where we're going to do the platforms, and Magna are going to complete the top hat on that. And, most of the new players are coming to Magna all the time, and they're an amazing partner to have. And the recent one that we announced, I think a month ago, with collaboration with the JP Poindexter Group, which is more than 50% of the North American walk-in vans, right? So more than a half of every UPS, FedEx, Amazon food truck you see out there the body is built by the Poindexter Group, Morgan Olson, Morgan, Jack, etc. And so you see major players coming into this technology with us, adopting it and moving faster to the market.
So Toyota has been working on smart vehicles and electric vehicles and hybrids for some time. Are there vehicles on the road right now from Toyota or from other partners that are already using REE technology in the manufacturing?
No, not yet. We're going to start manufacturing by 2023. We are currently testing our prototypes with our partners, and there's quite a lot of footage out there of us playing with the toys and the platform running around and testing durability and safety. The model that we're providing is basically a three-layer stack. We like to look at ourselves as a one-stop shop. So if you're the Toyotas of the world or you're a large OEM, you can go out and just buy those corners, and you'll do your own chassis and you'll do your own body because you're more than capable of doing so, right? We're not going to compete on chassis with Toyota. It doesn't make sense. But if you're, Morgan Olson or somebody like that, or anybody who's used to buy chassis from one and building the top hat on that, then we'll give you a full running chassis with batteries, with thermal management, so on and so forth. And if you just want to buy a vehicle and you say, guys, I'm not in the vehicle business, I want to run a service, I want to run an autonomous shuttle, I want to run a delivery, etc., we're also able to give you a full vehicle together with our partners such as Magna.
That's great. That's really interesting. I mean, you can get the sense we've all been waiting for EV to kind of take over. I mean, honestly, they've been talking about it since since I was a kid. I mean, like we've been kind of like and feel the feeling that we're somehow on the verge of this happening. There was a slight step back, if anything, in terms of EV adoption in 2020 for the pandemic. It's picked up again. You get the sense that people are really looking to carve out space at this point. Is that how REE sees? I mean, by coming in and doing sort of a strong OEM partner play, the Intel Inside approach, which I totally understand. I've seen that in other industries as well. Are you hoping to sort of carve out your space through partnership, or like what are your other differentiators? Being that a lot of people are charging into this.
Yeah. So first of all, yes, absolutely. Our ability to complete and not to compete, to partner is key. Instead of wasting time, energy, and resources, fighting with everybody else and competing out there, we're completing. We're moving faster. We're bringing everybody together with us and moving faster. And it's a major differentiator, I think, for us and for everybody else. Because, I mean, think about what we can accomplish with the likes of Toyota and Magna and Poindexter and Navia, which is the largest autonomous shuttle in the world, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's endless, and the numbers are just growing. And yes, we did see a slight slowdown due to the pandemic, but I think that also there is the silicon shortage that we are all aware of. But I think everything is going to be bouncing back by end of 2022, beginning of 2023, which is surprisingly exactly when we're going to start mass producing.
Well, and accelerated, if anything. I mean, one gets the feeling that the technology adoption that the pandemic has pushed goes well beyond screen time and what's available online.
I agree. And unfortunately, we're still in it. And every time I think we're seeing the end of it, there's yet another wave. I lost count of those. Sure. And, God bless everybody. But we are going to come out of it, I hope, soon. And we're getting ready to push forward on that.
So what are your top priorities, rounding out 2021 going into next year?
So naturally, we want to sign more agreements and more collaboration and more revenue projections out there. Second, I think it's very important for us to start nominating suppliers for specific programs. The way automotive works is that you have a VVN, a vetted vendor network. So it's a pool of amazing suppliers that we've been working together on great technology. And if you think about it, it's like a basketball team. So you've got a whole basketball team of tons of talent. Right. But then you've got a match, you've got a program, you've got a vehicle to build, and then you need to decide out of that amazing pool of talent who you bring out to the court to play, right? And this is your team for that program, and that's called nomination. And we are, I think, very close to being announcing nomination of our first programs, which means that these programs are moving from the development side to the production side, and that's an important milestone for people to watch for. And I think the third one you want to be looking out for is private road tests at customers. I mean, we're running private road tests at our facilities, in multiple facilities now, and it's great. But I think it's a different ballgame when you do it at the customer, with the customer, and they're literally being able to experience the technology, the product. And I think this is something everybody should be looking forward to as well.
So how far out are we from being able to, look at an EV solution? I guess we'll stick with for enterprise or for fleets, and be able to say, at least with a certain economy of scale, that it's comparable to a combustible engine fleet. At what point are people going to be able to make not only the long-term benefits, but having something come out? Like, it seems like a lot of your manufacturing is about like controlling supply chain, is making everything as compatible as possible, being able to manufacture different kind of vehicles. So you're kind of looking for that economy of scale. What's the tipping point where it isn't an extra taking on of something future oriented for a corporation to go with an electric fleet?
I think there are two factors for that.
Uh-huh.
One, if you're looking for fleets, it's TCO, right? Total cost of ownership, which is a formula that takes into account purchasing price, residual value, operating costs, et cetera, et cetera. It allows us to compare apples to apples,
right,
on the operating side. And today already we're able to show a significantly lower TCO than not only ICE, but also other on the market and soon to be on the market EVs. And that's a major factor when you look at adaptation rates of new technology, especially with fleet owners and those kind of places. Second, not less important, is the ability to scale. When you want to bet on the technology, you want to make sure that it's sustainable, not only on the durability side, but also on the scale side, that we're here to stay, that we're able to produce, we're able to go further. And I think our partnership with our amazing suppliers that at the end of the day are manufacturing the subcomponents for us, guys like American Axle and Musashi and others, is key for that success, because they're building vehicles for decades now, right? And they're doing that day in and day out at the highest quality, and they're working on a very special and exclusive basis with us to ensure that whatever they produce and we assemble is at the highest quality, at the highest scale, and able to meet the customer's requirements. I think those two are the main factors for adaptation, and we have clear line of sight on both.
So last question. I understand that you're also looking to expand into the U.S. So tell me about that. What is your plan for breaking into the U.S. market, not only in terms of sales, but also possibly in terms of operations?
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. is a huge market for us, and it's our primary market. We are very active in the U.S. So we've decided recently, and we've announced that we're going to open our North American headquarters, as well as our first assembly line, our first integration center in Austin, Texas. It's going to be up and running by next year, and going to be ready for production by 2023. And that's super exciting for us, because not only that it gives us, we've been active in the US for a while now. We had boots on the ground there for a while now, but having a proper North American headquarters and our first large-scale integration center is very exciting for us.
Is it just a matter of looking for a greener solution? Is that ultimately what's pressing it? Because the users, and companies in particular, will keep using whatever they're comfortable with for as long as they possibly can. That seems to be human nature. You kind of have to, pry it out of their hands. What's pushing this? Because it does seem like something's pushing the issue now.
Yeah, my 7-year-old daughter asked me a couple of weeks ago the similar question. They said that we watched a clip about global warming and stuff. I said, "Daddy, what are you doing about that?" I said, "Well, we're building electric vehicles and going to be zero pollution." She said, "Yeah, but why would they buy?" And you look at the 7-year-old and go like, "Oh wow, that's where's mommy?" Maybe you go there. She was not, so I had to answer. And the answer was, I said, we're better, we're faster. Meaning, I'll give you just two examples. Our volumetric efficiency is second to none. So think about it. We can give guys like UPS, FedEx, Amazon, all these guys 30, sometimes 36% more volume on the same vehicle. So we can make every delivery far more efficient. You can deliver more on the same CapEx requirements, same driver time, same footprint of a vehicle. You make things more efficient. Now, why is it important? Yes, it's greener. Yes, it's better for the planet, for our children. That is true. But it also improves significantly by 30% your top line.
Right.
And it improves your bottom line because there's no added CapEx required to that, because we're aiming to be at the same price as ICE. And with that, I mean, that's key, right? That gives you the incentive to do this today and not wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, you have to be cheaper and greener and better in order to break into the space, because the interest, boy, especially in the U.S., we sure love our current vehicles. Well, I see Spencer with us, so I believe that our time has come to a close.
Yes.
Like a grim specter, Spencer sees me off stage. But thank you for spending the time with me, Daniel. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin.